Obviously, you're not a golfer.
You want a tow? I can get you a tow. Believe me, there are ways, dude. You don't want to know about it, believe me.
Yeah, but Walter...
Hell, I can get you a tow by 3 o'clock this afternoon with nail polish. That rug really tied the room together, did it not?
Toes? I'll give you toes. I'll give you fingers. I'll give you intestines. I'll give you hands.
This movie
bones.
gives it all.
If you want it, this movie's got it. Hey, welcome back to this podcast. Really ties the room together. My name is. I realize sometimes I never say the name of the podcast. My name is Joseph Eastwood. Fresh, James Koppel.
America's foremost cowboy over
I
there.
am America's foremost cowboy. America's foremost friend over here.
Yeah.
And what do we do today? A couple weeks ago, you said we should start doing good movies, and I thought, hey, you know what?
I was kidding.
I was like, let's try it. Let's see what happens if we do. And I don't know if this is a good movie. It's good to me because it entertains me thoroughly.
Yeah, my wife was like, towards the end, she's like, now what is the actual plot of this movie? And I was like, it's really kind of about the girl, you know? Like,
yeah, it's a super simple plot. Yeah. There's a couple like things that I'm still not clear about, and I've watched it. This probably be my third time I watched it, and I'm still like, who's the operator work for? What I don't know. There's just little things like that I'm not quite clear about still. We watched The Night Comes For Us, a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
Now the two stars of this movie, they were previously in Gareth Edwards' The Raid and The Raid 2, and that's where I discovered them personally. So I really love those movies. Mm-hmm. I love this movie, but this is like I don't even want to say elevated version of those movies. It definitely doesn't have the run and gun feel that the Raid movies have. And it's part of the reason I love them is because you can tell they're all handheld and they do so many cool camera tricks in it.
There's a lot of cool camera tricks in this.
There's a lot of cool camera tricks in this, but they're a little bit
more refined, maybe.
More refined and a little bit, I don't want to say more well done. It's just they had more money because Netflix is behind it. Whereas normally it's, they have money, but they're
normally it's like a camera on a rope swinging through, and that's
one of the great things.
Similar.
Yeah, no, I mean,
they're like, let's try that.
There's a cool if you own the Raid movies. The Raid 2 has a great behind the scenes featurette, and one of them shows you how there's a cool scene in the Raid 2 where, so in this movie, for example, a guy breaks out of an ambulance at one point. Well, there's a car chase scene in the Raid 2 where a guy breaks out of a police vehicle. The difference is the camera actually comes with him, follows him down the road into a car, and then out of that car into another car. And when you watch the behind the scenes feature, it's like one guy is like painted. He is the seat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he has a seat cover on him. But he's actually holding the camera. So, like, he's doing this, and then, like, the door's gone. So there's another guy on a frickin' board on his back outside the car who, like, when the camera comes out, he will grab it. Then he's a camera operator. And then he hands it to the next guy in the car.
That's cool.
And it's, like, it's full of shots like that they had to be like, we're going to risk life and limb to pull this off.
Yeah.
Much like the Long Riders. Like, you feel it, too, when the camera moves. There's no cut. There's no, like, they don't go through a black spot where they can cut it.
Oh, dude, there were some scenes in this movie where they could have got seriously. Towards the end there where they're fighting and there's all the pipes and everything and they're falling on the pipes. Mm-hmm. They're literally, like, that's not in the script, I don't think. They're falling on the pipes.
Does anybody look hurt as well as our main character Ito does? Does anybody act hurt as well as he does?
Yeah, dude, he's got it.
He's like when he gets up,
the breathing,
and he'll be like, and he'll like almost fall. I like believe like I think maybe he broke a rib. I
felt that pain.
Yeah,
and that's exactly how I sounded and how I acted.
Yeah,
and yeah.
It was like every time he was getting the crap beat out of him, I was like, man, he sells it so hard.
Maybe he's really hurt. And he's
I really thought several times.
It's like, break my freaking rib.
I really thought several times, like, oh, he got hurt.
Yeah.
And that little slip right there, I don't think that was intentional.
Maybe he's a method actor, man. Maybe he broke a rib on purpose before shooting, and then so he came in with actual pain.
One thing, you're probably right. I would. That's how good I am. One thing American movies don't get that these movies get is Americans don't let their leading men, except for Keanu, they don't let them take hits anymore.
Yeah.
Like Vin Diesel and The Rock and all the Fast and Furious guys. They don't take hits. Nobody's beating them up. They don't ever lose a fight.
Right.
These guys get the crap beat out of them. Our main guy gets the crap beat out of him several times.
American movies have a superhero complex with their good guys.
They really do.
They can't lose a fight. Come on.
Yeah, they can't lose a fight. They'll fall 7 stories and land on a car and be like, well, my shoulder.
Get up
and pop their neck.
Yeah. It's got to be something cool after.
There's a scene where one of my favorite characters in this movie, I guess we'll get to it, White Boy Bobby.
Yeah,
Bobby's great.
Yeah.
He beats a guy with a sign, and he literally breaks his shoulder because he's beating him so hard. And I was like, they don't put that crap in movies in America.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see one of the lead guys break his shoulder beating a guy. And
with a caution sign.
With a caution sign. And then he is literally injured for the rest of the movie. Like, he can't use his arm. It's falling, dangling down his side because he dislocated his shoulder.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Let's get into it.
So crazy open scene.
Night comes for us. It opens on the beach. Is that right?
Girl face down. A young girl.
Young girl, yes. Face down.
It's just everything is out of sorts with this open. So it's a young, pretty girl in a little dress.
Much like you said, much like Whitefire.
Yeah, in a cutesy little dress, face down on a beach. And then, like,
you're like, what Eastwood? What do I got myself in for here?
She wakes up, kind of looks around, and you notice like fire, smoke, blood everywhere, chunks of people, body parts,
washing up.
Yeah, and then you're like, what the heck?
What's going on here?
Yeah,
and then
it's a great open.
Yes, and then we see the firing squad, right?
Yeah,
we see the firing squad line up, and like you see her parents.
Yeah,
die
but there are hundreds of dead people.
There's people dead everywhere. Now the only thing you have to buy in this entire movie is, what did Ito see in this little girl? Because they don't let you know it for a second. It just he aims a gun at her and then it cuts.
I think it's just his innocence.
That's
dying in front of him.
That's what I thought too. Like, it was the last straw. He knew that. He explains it later about, like, he got to a point where he was like, if I go this road, there's no turning back.
Yeah.
But if I do this, there's also no turning back.
Yeah. I wasn't necessarily just saving her. I was saving myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so cut to his wife hanging out in her house, and she hears a sound, and she goes,
ex-girlfriend.
Yes, right. That's right. Yeah, they're not
he
even
left her.
They're not even together. You're right. I forgot about that. She wakes up. She goes into the bathroom. There's the girl that we see, the young girl.
Almost as crazy as scene, because it just starts out with her waking up, get a little upskirt.
Yep, that's right.
She walks through the house and she starts seeing like bloody footprints. There's like some dribbles of blood, and you're like, now what's happening?
Yeah, once again, could be a horror movie.
Right. She pulls the curtain on the tub, and there's the same little girl.
Yeah, young girl. In the shower. And
two
then,
crazy, very excellent opening scenes.
Oh yeah, and then
Back
we
to
have what's this other sound? She turns, and there's Ito, and he collapses on the floor.
Right.
So then we meet this long-haired dude who is one of the and he's 6 C's, right?
He's the old tiger. Is that correct?
He's the old tiger. I think he has a number. I think he's number 4. Is that right? Because there's 6 C's. Mm-hmm. They explained at the beginning that the triads and all these things, they all are run by something called the 6 C's, which are like the head of all of them. Correct?
I took it as there was a higher power that ran things.
Yes.
And the 6 C's were the enforcers of these guys.
Of the higher-ups.
Yes.
Yeah. Much like the Raid movies, there's always a reference to someone running things above that we never meet, which is always fun.
Right.
Okay. So this long-haired guy who's cool, he speaks English, he offers... I put down Euro because I didn't know that was his name in another different movie. His name's Arian. He offers Arian a chance to basically find Ito, and he can become the 6th C. He can become the other member. He can take his place.
C as in SEA. C.
Yes.
Not the letter.
Not the letter. C. Not as in like C.
Not SI.
No. I just think the guy's cool. They're like on a road, and it's like a highway, and it's shut down.
Yeah.
You notice, like, I don't know what's going on there.
And then like where like any other day, like in real life, you go to this road and it's packed.
And
just
I
bumper.
thought, like, is this like showing this dude's power?
Yeah, that's the way I took it.
Is that
like,
he was like,
we're shutting down this road, so I can
have
make
a meeting
this point.
here.
Yeah.
So shut down the road because he looks around and like both sides of the highway are shut down, and the rest of the city is just functioning as usual beneath them.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool shot. So then Ito, we meet some of Ito's friends. Do we meet Bob there? I think we meet Bob and Faith, and Ito's like, I gotta go take care of some business. I don't remember exactly what his plan is, but he leaves the girl in their custody.
So he's going to
safety.
he's going to
he goes to the butcher, but I don't remember like why he's going to the butcher
to get the money.
Is it just to get the money?
So that guy took the money from once Ito left and went to become one of the 6 Cs.
Yes.
This guy, Johan, I think is his name.
Yes, that's right.
Johan stole the money from the rest of the gang.
Ah, yes.
And ended up he became a drug dealer.
Yeah, and he runs the butcher shop there.
Yes.
So Ito shows up at the butcher shop. Great scene where he comes in and you see this crazy bull head and all the meat in the freezer. And the guy's in the back sawing up some stuff. He's got blood all over him.
Yeah, just blood splatter.
And he comes up to the front desk and he pulls out his glasses and wipes them off.
Yeah, he had blood all over him.
Covered in blood. So you see him through his eyes, his POV, put his glasses on and realize that Ito is standing in front of him.
Yeah, he's kind of talking to him. He's talking down to him at first. He can't make out who it is. Like, he's kind of being a smart aleck.
Yeah, like you came to the right place. We have beef cuts. What you want, man? Or, that's the equivalent of it. He's speaking. I don't know what he's speaking. We don't care.
Yeah.
And then he sees it's Ito and like quickly changes his tune. He goes to reach for a shotgun and Ito smashes his face down in a butcher block. And the guy's great playing this part. He's like, "Oh, that hurt." He says, "That really hurt, you bastard."
We skipped
go home.
one part, and it's Arian,
who doesn't have what it takes.
The scene where the guy's in the bar in the back room.
Oh yes,
with all the girls.
That's right.
And he just decides, I've had enough.
I've had enough of this guy. Yeah.
And the guy's got like 6 bodyguards with him, and I'm just gonna say it's Arian. I assume.
I think it's Arian.
A-R-I-A-N.
It's what Arian. I think he even calls him Arian. Ito calls him out several times.
Arian's like, because this guy is just a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah, horrible.
He's talking about his brother, calls him his brother at some point, and the guy's like, if he'd have just brought me this good wine at the beginning, none of that. He just beat the crap out of like these
out of some Indonesian huas.
Yeah.
Sex workers, I like.
And Arian just beats the snot and kills all of his bodyguards, and then takes the bottle of this wine and shoves it through his teeth, the guy's teeth, into his mouth. And he's like, "Look at me." And the guy looks at him with this bottle sticking out, and he slams his head on the table and just ends him. What a great scene.
For good measure, and we see it from underneath the glass table. That he then's like, this isn't quite enough. He then
I would say at that point, I was like, I'm in. I'm into this movie. All the other stuff, I was like, this could be a good movie. This could be a good movie. This could be a good movie through all of these scenes, and then bam, I'm in.
Yeah, I forgot about that scene. Honestly, I didn't write it down, but honestly, after that scene, and then this next scene, which we're getting into, the butcher shop.
Yeah.
The movie only slows down like 2 more times to give you a little bit of story of flashback before it's just like
it's nonstop.
Fight after fight after fight. And they seem to amplify it each fight, which that's one of my I love the John Wick movies, but I get tired of them after they're too long for one thing. Mm-hmm. And after like 2.5 hours, I'm like, I've
never watched a John Wick movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
After 2.5 hours, I'm always like, You've already done this. I've seen you fight these guys. I know you're going to beat them.
Right.
I'm sick of this. What this movie does great is
the guy loses a fight or two.
he loses many fights.
Yeah.
And what it also does is it introduces characters like Bobby that you're like, oh, this dude's tough.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And then, spoilers, they'll be like, oh, here's this blonde chick that showed up.
Yeah.
Who's going to handle him.
Right.
Like
Of
it's
course,
nothing.
after he's fought 70 people
Sure.
and taken umpteen wounds.
You do.
But yeah.
You do feel for
But
it. And his right arm is useless.
But you get the feeling that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's going to lose to this chick if he just got out of bed.
And they do that over and over
Yeah.
again, like where you're like, man, that dude's crazy. And they're like, oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Here's one person that's even crazier.
Yeah.
So they keep upping it, which
Yeah.
I don't think John Wick does because it's always John Wick. John Wick, it's not like he has partners with him that get killed. Let's see. Yeah, we meet White Boy Bobby. It's a great scene. They're going down. The butcher shop fight. Let's just get into the butcher shop fight. It's insane. He forces the guy back there to get his money. The butcher shop's just full of people. I don't even know what happens. There's bones. He's like, there's guys with big saws,
Big bone cutters. Yeah, like it's like a circular saw almost.
Yeah. It's just
He blocks it, so the guy's coming at him
gets
with a
a
saw
bone,
at one point, and he blocks the saw with a bone, and it's slowly cutting through it.
Yes.
And it's right above his face.
Yes, but he's got another guy underneath him who he's fighting.
Right.
And he takes that saw at one point and puts it into the other guy's leg.
Yeah.
Then he gets the bone, blocks it. The bone gets cut in half. He takes one of it, puts the bone in the guy's head. And the
Yeah.
other part he puts in the guy's heart behind it.
Yeah, it's so cool.
It's just great. I know, like, we're almost 50 years old.
Yeah,
man.
it's a
Like,
gret-
This is so cool.
Okay, so
So it
something,
really is. This is what action movies should be.
something I wrote down real quick whenever they shut down the road and they're having the talk.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, the guy, Old Tiger, is talking to Arian,
Yes.
and he basically describes the bosses almost like vampires.
Yeah.
So he says that the bosses need youth, basically, or someone that's in the now,
Yes.
to bring fresh blood and ideas into their
Yes.
ventures, which is it's how every vampire story
It's true.
goes. There's an old vampire who's been in the
I never thought about
been
that.
in the earth for years and years,
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
back and has to be rejuvenated by a youthful person
Yeah.
to bring them into the now times. It's,
He also mentions, I don't know if this goes with that or not, it might. He also mentions they need chaos,
yeah,
which I thought was like, that would, I could tie it together, but now that I know it, my brain's probably just doing circles to tie it together. But it's kind of the same thing.
Maybe
like,
this is a vampire movie
when there is
with all the blood and
when there is chaos, so much chaos that you can't tell what the real crime is.
right.
That's kind of the way I took it. But
Just look at our government right
I
now.
could see that. Anne Rice. Yeah, so the butcher fight's just great. He finally gets to the freezer, gets his money out. Then we go back to White Boy Bobby. This is the next awesome scene. He's going, the girl is left with Faith. White Boy Bobby's taking a lady in the elevator. And that's Ito's ex, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he doesn't really know it's his ex. I mean, he left her for
Yeah.
3-5 years, whatever he was gone. Comes
yes.
back. He still thinks that she's kind of hanging on to him when she's
Yeah.
actually with Faith now.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch that part.
Yeah.
Or yeah, well, yeah, that did. He's going down the elevator. Very cool scene. The guys are coming in. Bobby knows what's getting ready to happen, and he like pushes her out of the elevator and says like, "Get the blank out of my
We're
life.
done.
You
We're
blank.
over."
We're done. We're over.
Yeah.
You heard me. Get the hell out. Don't ever come back." And kind of gives her a look like, don't.
Yeah. You don't want to be here.
You
right
don't
now.
want to be here. Great cut. The elevator door is shut on him looking at her. Open back up. He's covered in blood.
Right.
All the other guys are gone.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah,
oh, that's
it's
all you need
great.
to know about him. He looks over and he sees the caution wet floor sign or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
And
I was like, there's an omen.
oh yeah.
You know.
Then he comes in the room, like the bad guys have made it upstairs. They're in the room with Faith, with the young girl.
This is this is an equivalent to a zombie scene. The door scene where he cracks open the door and there's all the dudes out there. is like people trapped in a room, and it's shot exactly like a zombie scene.
Yeah, I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
You're right.
It is.
Heyo, we're halfway through, baby. Look at that.
That means commercial.
Time to check the phones. I might pause for station identification. WDBX.
WDBX.
As long as somebody's still putting them in there for me. And we're back. Walter, I haven't talked to him in a while. I hope he's still doing his job.
I'm sure he is.
I haven't heard any complaints.
Walter, math out, right?
Yes. Back from the
working for us.
He's dead, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, man, I was fooled. It was just an old man down the road. Oh, Walter Matthite. I was like, it didn't even sound like him. Damn it. He's been in my personal files, the ones in my computer that say taxes. You got any hidden files in your computer?
I don't even have a computer
with weird names. No?
No. I have one. It was the
boring stuff.
The one and only computer I've ever bought. Mm-hmm. And I bought it in I want to say probably 99 or 2000. And it was top of the line
Gateway.
back then. And it
Dell.
It's either a Gateway or a Dell.
Yeah.
Whatever store it was in Carbondale. It was a Gateway.
Probably was a Gateway. Gateway was big.
Yeah, I drove to Carbondale and bought it.
Yeah.
In the store. And it had 5
gigabytes storage.
No, that was no. It had like 528. It was top of the line then, but it was under a gig.
That's so insane.
Yeah, and I actually got it out like a few years ago.
Yeah,
and LimeWire. I still have LimeWire on there, and there are thousands of songs still on that. And I'm just terrified to like plug it in today because it's immediately like sirens all over going to go off. There's going to be like everyone, FCC, FAA, I'm sure, the CDC, everybody's going to come in because there's so many viruses and illegal things and music-wise and all kinds of stuff on there that, like this is where all the music has been hiding.
You should probably destroy the hard drive.
Yeah, well, I can't though. I can't.
That or, drop it off.
When they make a movie about my life, they're going to be like, why didn't he just destroy this hard drive?
Treat it like
I can't.
Treat it like you're in like an early 90s, late 80s action movie. You drop it off in the ghetto.
Right.
You see if the law gets called there.
I steal it back.
Yeah. That's right. Sounds like a pretty stereotypical movie from the 80s. All right. White boy Bobby comes back in the room. He's like,
so he's lost his from like the shin down. He's lost his leg somewhere somehow.
Yes.
At first, I thought
he's an addict. We know that because we see him early in a flashback later.
Yeah, they call him a junkie. He calls him Ito calls him
a junkie, and he had something to do with turning against the gang.
Yeah,
at some point, but everybody else seems to.
But I thought they were kind of leading into maybe Ito cut his leg off, and then they didn't, and so I was like, they don't really describe, which is not important, but. They don't say
and they
how.
have a tumultuous relationship, the two of them.
Yeah,
even in the flashbacks, they're fighting.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he does the right thing. So he comes back in the room, yes, and he you can tell he's got the thing underneath him. Like they don't try to hide it,
right?
But he's like, you don't know who I am. You're here in my spot.
Yeah,
I'm White Boy Bobby, and they're just like
killing.
chink chink, and they unload on him, and you're like, oh no,
yeah.
I love White Boy Bobby.
I like the fact that one bullet got through in his shoulder.
Yes, he was.
He was actually shot. It's not like his little sign made him invincible.
That's true. Yeah. He gets shot down. And then but while they're shooting, it causes Faith to grab one of them and start a fight.
Yeah.
And then we see Bobby get back up, and the guy that shot him, he's like kills him with the sign and further injures his shoulder.
Dude, he just.
It's so much so that one of them's like, Bob.
Yeah, they're
enough.
like, dude. They're literally like they pull away. The scene pulls away. The camera pulls away.
Yes.
And they're just chunks of brain.
Yeah,
laying on the floor.
That's right. It does show it for a second.
And there's like a hair or something on the sign.
That's right.
There's a lot of scenes like that.
Yes, he holds it up, and you can see
later on with the pool balls.
The pool balls.
There's hair.
There's hair and chunks of shit in it.
Yeah, they did a good job with all that.
Absolutely. Then there's just more fighting. Bobby has some great fights. He throws that one guy out the window.
Yeah,
that's a cool shot.
Yeah,
where they're inside. That's a raid type shot. They're inside, and then he is fighting the guy. The camera comes outside, and then he throws it. Camera looks down as the guy falls and hits a air conditioner.
Yeah.
Slips, comes back in, and then goes back inside with Bobby.
Yeah.
Only to be tackled by yet another guy.
Jeez, there's so many. It just come in waves. It's almost this movie's almost like a video game, where the bad guys just like fine, and then you look up and there's 12 more guys. You're just like, good Lord, man. Which just shows the power, I guess, of this gang, this triad gang that everyone is willing to do whatever to get in good favor with them.
Yeah. What I think we missed is Ito has been fighting a bunch of people, but he gets surrounded by dudes with tasers, and they knock him out. And at this point, he comes to, and he's in a cop car, isn't he?
Yeah, he's in it's kind of a wagon thing.
Yeah,
it's not the cops.
It's not the cops, but he's in like a armored police-esque car. And then this fight inside this thing.
Because there's a call that comes on, and they're like, well, it would look suspicious if we didn't respond.
Yeah.
So they start heading towards the call at the house where Ito's actually from.
Yes.
And that's where they're responding to, which is kind of clever.
Yeah.
But they don't make it. He'd have been better off just to ride it out until they got there.
Oh, yeah.
And then he wouldn't have to steal a car.
It's true.
Because he's breaking laws.
But he's in the back with a couple guys.
It's a great fight scene. There's so many great fight scenes.
It's so intense. They're in a closed-in little spot.
Yeah.
And what ends up,
and this scene has been done. It's been done.
But hasn't been like the way
it's not been done. It's not been executed this well.
What he ends up doing is taking the guy's gun while still in his hand,
right?
Aiming it at the other guy, then putting a taser into it.
Yeah. So the one guy pulls out a pistol, a pistol, and he grabs that hand. The other guy's got like a assault rifle.
Assault rifle, yeah.
And he grabs that. So they're pointing at each other.
Yes.
And then there's a guy that one of them's got a taser at one point, and he tases the guy
with the assault rifle,
causes a spasm.
And he starts shooting the other guy in the face.
So awesome.
But he doesn't stop. He's just like...
It's great, man.
Until the bullets are out. And then a grenade comes out of something.
Yeah.
And he puts the guy's body against it. And the whole... Oh, my gosh. It's a crazy fight scene. Us acting like doesn't do most of them justice. Cut back to the place, the apartment buildings, where our young girl is. White boy Bobby and Faith and the girl are trying to...
And then there was a younger guy, too. It was like somebody's cousin.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I can't remember.
There was another guy.
And they're like, look like they're going to make it, maybe. They're escaping, and then the elevator doors open, and that's when we meet this blonde chick who's French, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
she speaks French. I'm almost positive. And she shows up, and she's got a couple guys with her. And this is where I realized later who she works for. But she comes in.
Yeah,
and
they've all got guns. All the guys got guns, and she's just got this.
She's got like I don't know what that kind of knife is called, but it's got the strange angle to it.
Yeah, it bends forward.
Yeah.
Almost like a sickle or something.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of a pirate sword.
Yeah.
It's like a limp D compared to an erect D.
Right.
Maybe that's why she likes
it. It's effective regardless.
She looks like a lesbian, so I could see why a big hard D.
Yeah.
Have you seen the scene from Megalopolis where John Voight's in bed and his grandchildren come to see him, and it's all in like ancient Rome gear, and they're like, come to see you, grandfather, and he's like, hello, what do you think of this boner I have? It's just like,
no, I have not.
I'll send it to you. It's insane. We have to watch Megalopolis. I don't know when it's going to come out, but I just from watching that clip, now I'm just like, oh, I have to watch this. It turns out to be an arrow on a tiny little bow and arrow that he then kills people with like this. It's like, what is this, a canon movie?
This movie, I took so few notes This is the fewest notes I've ever taken on a movie that
I
I thoroughly enjoyed.
Yes.
Because it's just fight scene after
I was
fight
gonna
scene.
say,
There's really nothing to take notice
just-
of other than the occasional super cool death that I took note
Yeah.
of. But,
Blonde girl shows up and sadly kills everybody, including White Boy Bobby.
Faith makes it. Faith makes
Oh
it.
yeah, it's all right. Faith does make it because Bobby
And the girl.
because Bobby's like, get out of here.
Yeah.
And then they wait way too long.
Yeah.
It's like she's killing him and they're still staring. I'm like, go.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
It amazes me. So here's the thing. It amazes me, and it's all of basically martial arts movies.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much honor when they fight.
Mm-hmm.
In an American movie, that dude would have been in the background. He'd have been killed too instantly. They would not have given him a chance.
Oh
to go.
no. Yeah, you're right.
But it's like
Even later, somebody's like lady friend gets killed.
special lady friend.
Special lady friend.
Shout out to Shark.
And you think she's going to be like raging up, like, you know what I mean? She could have done something about it, but she didn't.
Right.
And she even asks her, like, why didn't you try to help her? And she's like,
Can't save the dead.
Can't save the dead.
Yeah,
Like,
somebody's already dead.
and she's like, so we could talk or we can just try to kill each other. But you're right. Like, it would have just been like pull out a gun and shot her or something in an American movie. But there was like, well, she won that fight.
Yeah. But there's some even in whenever it's 20 against 1.
Yes, they're not. They could just rush in simultaneously with machetes and all stab.
But there's too much honor in that type of in that
Except
world.
when they gets to the pool hall and it's the young kids.
Yeah.
If you notice.
Yeah, because young kids have no honor.
They get a bunch of cheap shots in. They're slicing him in the back.
Yeah.
At one point they rush him and he picks up a kid and starts like windmilling
It's
him.
great. It was great. Took me right back to like Andre the Giant or Big John Stud.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
He slams and he ends up
The
slamming one
helicopter.
guy's head into the pole. It's something else.
And then grabs the pole to make it stop vibrating.
Oh,
that was a different
That's
one.
Arian. That's his like control freakness.
Yeah.
He's so dressed immaculately, and the pole, boop, he grabs it. It's very like old kung fu stuff.
Yeah.
Then we get this parking lot, another fight, like a parking lot, just shooting up this car. Faith gets just beat. I don't even know. I get lost because once again I just have parking lot fight.
Yeah, it's a great. There's so many great fight scenes.
Ito steals a car. Then there's just
to get back to him.
Yeah, then there's just like a car fight. Oh yeah. They go back to Ito. He's
Arian stepped in to save
right.
the day at the very last minute to keep Faith from being killed and the girl.
Yes, yeah, and it's kind of, is that his like one favor to them, or is it?
I think he was.
Or is he genuinely like, I'm not going to let these people kill my friends?
I think he is Anakin Skywalker in this. I think he's teetering on going to the dark side. He's already had his toe in the darkness.
And told him he's going. He's he said he was going to do it.
Right, but I think he's teetering, and then he finally is like, I can't tell at the end of the movie. It doesn't matter. I
don't think he's built for it.
No, right.
I think he wants to think he's built for it, but he's really not. I think he's always second banana to Ito, even though he beats the crap out of him for a while.
So is this Ito is Obi-Wan and Arian is Anakin?
It's Anakin, I guess so. I hate blood. It gets everywhere.
Gets everywhere.
So much blood everywhere. Yeah, the parking lot scene. I don't even know how to describe it. He takes off in this total car, and he
just madness.
He tells the girl, it is just madness. He tells the girl, "I need you to do something for me and be brave." And so we kind of know he's gonna die. He rolls off, smoking a cig.
Yeah.
This car's just total. A bunch of dudes show up, of course.
He's rolling so slow.
They come up on him with guns, unload on him. I love that he gets a couple.
Yeah,
of them.
he got 3 of them.
He's got like a little snub nosed Magnum. He's just like, he gets a couple of them. Like, heck,
I like the fact that they showed that it was because there were so many shots that car took, and they were still alive. And then whenever he's rolling in the windshield is finally gone, they showed the fact that it was bulletproof glass because the glass was so thick. So it's not like how in the they showed like this was Arian's car. I feel
I didn't catch that.
And
you're probably right.
And so Arian's got all this protective.
Yeah.
And then
Now, is this when the operator shows up? Let me see here. Total car, it's all shot to hell. He tells the girl, oh, yes. So
we're also introduced.
Faith is almost, he's still alive. They come around the car. He's like, says something, and they're going to go shoot him. And that's when we see a laser sight come out of nowhere and clip all these dudes out.
We're also introduced real quick to the other girl with the chain thing.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Which is the blonde girl's lover.
Yes.
But she has a short kind of scene in there where she's laughing and she kills the guy in the hallway, kind of in the stairwell.
Oh, it's gruesome, that wire thing she has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she comes back later with a bigger role. But.
Yeah. I forgot about that. I missed that. The chick's gone. Laser sights, sexy helmet. I called her.
Yeah.
For a lot of it. Sexy helmet shows up. She's awesome. She just dispatches all these dudes that are left.
She reminds me of Robin from How I Met Your Mother.
Okay.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
I never watched it.
She's Canadian. She's also in the Marvel movies.
Okay. I bet I've seen her.
Yeah.
I love this actress. She's in one of the Raid movies as a character called Hammer Girl.
Hammer Girl.
You can imagine what her weapon of choice is. She's like she wears giant black glasses. And you don't know if she's blind or not.
Yeah.
But she fights with two big, long, like cement hammers. And she's vicious.
Good Lord.
Anyway, she shows up, takes out some dudes. And this is where I'm a little like, who does she work for?
Yeah.
Because she changes her tune, like after eventually she finds Ito, and he's got the girl back, and they have a crazy good fight, and then they kind of end up being like, I think we want the same thing.
So she's Russian.
Okay.
Right? Am I wrong?
I don't know. I've watched the movie 3 times. I still don't know. Here was
my take on it.
Or why she's there.
Here was my take on it. I think she's Russian, and she works for the Russian mafia, and she is there to take out the 6 C's.
Ah. Okay.
To weaken them. So that was kind of how my mind worked with it, because she sounded Russian to me.
Okay. That could be.
And then, so she's there. She's trying to figure out if Ito is still in the 6 C's.
Yes.
And then Ito's like, I'm not. I quit.
And at the end of the day, she cares about the girl enough
a little bit,
to help.
Yeah.
She helps Ito anyway.
Yeah.
And she spares his life because she gets the upper hand on him several times.
Yeah. After he's fought 95 people. Yeah. She finally. It's the only way a woman can beat a man.
He comes back. Ito comes back.
Kidding.
The police are everywhere. But the little girl's hiding underneath the car. He gets her. That's when it happens later. He's at home. He's smashing up lights to put in front of the door.
What did Faith tell her? Because I can't remember, but it comes back at the end of the movie that Ito had said that too.
Oh, what does he tell her?
Because she even explains it.
They have the heart
he's
to
like,
heart.
he said it just like this and goes like that.
But he stops her from finishing it, right? He says, "Be strong." Like he said it. And he. Yeah, I don't know.
I can't remember.
We're gonna have to rewatch it. Adrian.
Movie night.
Hey, yo. Yeah, the ladies would love this movie night. Hey man.
Mr. T hadn't made an appearance.
Thunder Lips. No, that was Hulk Hogan. What was Mr. T? Clobberlane. Yeah. Arian has a dream that Ito's coming after him. Then he's got to go tell the tiger, which the blonde chick's there, and she almost cuts him up, and he's like, "Don't you dare!"
I love the fact that everything in the whole room is covered in plastic wrap. Like they were gonna murder him, and it was gonna be brutal. And then old Tiger's like, "Hold up, don't you dare attack him yet."
I thought that, or I just thought they're just always ready.
Yeah. This is
murder somebody.
This is their kill room.
Like, well, we party in here too because it's kind of cool looking, but we're prepared.
Everything is covered in plastic. The lamp. I mean, everything.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. This is when we get
the bed he was sitting on whenever they came to get him was covered in plastic. Yeah.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
So this boss just says, like, you screwed up. I'll give you one more chance. And Arian, I think, is starting to maybe doubt them. Yeah. So what do you think? End of the day, were they using him to get to Ito, were they ever going to make Arian a 6C?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think they were just using him, and they planned to kill him.
Yeah.
Either way,
And
that's just my guess. He didn't seem to have any ambition short of I want to have ambition.
Here's what I like. I like the fact that they even tied up. So the plot is this little girl comes from a village of fishermen, and these fishermen kept some of the fish that they were supposed to be giving to the triad, this gangster group, and they kept some of them and sold them to different people that they weren't supposed to. Okay, and this is why they came to attack their village and kill the entire village. And it's basically for no reason, but you can't cross this triad group, and they're making an example. This is a flimsy, and this little girl is the only one left from this tribe, or this village, and they are out to kill her because they leave no one left.
Yeah, that's
no one lives. Okay, that's flimsy.
It is,
but they tie it together with this isn't the real reason. The real reason is just because we need to cause chaos for the bosses to come in. Which was I struggled with this reasoning through most of the movie until they tied that up.
You're right, because I did think that as well, because I didn't.
Because I was like, this is a lot of killing and a lot of resources
for a girl
who's
gonna say what?
Right.
Some dude showed up and killed everybody.
Right.
At best, like she's not gonna be like.
And
it was Johnny Wad. I called him Johnny Lips was there. I know because his tattoo has left.
So yeah, but as much as I was enjoying the movie and the violence and the fight scenes and the coolness, that was bothering me. That this is the plot, and then they tie it up with no. This is
an excuse for what needs to happen right now for us to.
So they even
take
that's
charge.
I really like that because they tidy that up.
Yeah. So after Sexy Helmet and Ito have their fight, we get a little flashback to Ito and Arian back when they were brothers. And Ito, it's kind of like they switched places almost. Like Ito thinks it's all horse crap and WDBX. And Arian's like, there's got to be more than this. I want more than this. And he's talking about going on and being a 6C and blah, 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 blah. Right. Bobby's there. He looks great. He looks healthy. Yeah. And
I was like, man.
Yeah. It's a cool little flashback.
Bobby before the junk, dude.
Nice little flashback to establish what they kind of used to be like. Anyway, Sexy Helmet shows him a bunch of like detonation. What am I thinking of here? Charges like bombs, detonations. What am I thinking of? Demolition, demolition charges and stuff. Which I was like, where's this come in handy? Well, you'll see later that she blows the hell out of stuff.
Yeah, puts him down the hallway.
Oh, it's so gruesome.
Which I would have been an idiot and put him in the room or whatever. With the hallway confines it and makes it more effective.
So Ito goes back. So we see this old hangout. It was their hangout before the triad screwed Bobby over and caused this whole fight and blah blah. And then Ito goes back to that hideout. What is now the new triads, right? And we see a great scene. Where's this? How many times have we seen this in a movie? Usually a prison movie, but a guy making a vest or armor out of telephone books or magazines or pages. As I said it, last night I was like, oh, it's this. Like, I love this trope of can I make a vest out of phone books?
Right.
And then I started.
Did you do it? Did you try it?
I tried it. Unfortunately, there's no phone books in this green world we live in.
There should be enough in your parents'
I'm gonna send a tweet to
drawers in there.
Says, "Could you bring phone books back?"
Yeah, make phone books great again.
I miss phone books. Who cares if they waste trees?
Yeah, we've got our own forests. We can afford some phone books.
But then I started thinking, and I could not think of a single movie where it happens, but I know it does.
Yeah.
I think I was like, is it all prison movies?
Yeah, I think it is.
Anyway, I should have looked up a Reddit.
They should use books instead, just like regular books. Like Catcher in the Rye, just rip it in half and use it for padding. Keep it getting shanked. And
he looks at each title.
You see Rob going, yeah! Just ripping Catcher in the Rye.
He looks at each one before it. Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah, this thing's garbage. Rip. This stupid book.
War and Peace. Yeah. I choose war. I choose war, fool.
Hey,
Uh-oh, Hemingway. What do I do?
Give me 400 more pages on tying a knot, fool.
The knot was solid. The knot was tight.
Let me tell you a little story real quick.
He tied it with his solid hands.
Let me tell you a little
hands that
story.
was solid and tight. The Hemingway like repeats words so much that I'm like, sometimes I'm like,
And
I love him though. He's probably one of my favorite authors.
in
honestly.
7th grade, we were supposed to do a book report, and I knew right off the bat I wasn't going to read the book.
Okay.
And so I was like,
I love it. Great start.
I know a book that there's movies of,
Absolutely.
and I'm going to watch this movie and do the book report. And you know what I picked?
Rambo.
Moby Dick.
Moby Dick.
And I think it was
my
Miss. I
God.
think it was Miss Gajewski.
Oh, that's
And we went
great.
around, and she was like, "What book are you doing?" And I was like, "Moby Dick." And she just looked at me, and she was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Oh yeah,
Did
for
you have
sure."
Any idea why?
And she was like, "Maybe you should pick a different book." And I was like, "Oh no, I got it." And she's like, "Okay." I failed. That's terrible. She was like,
God.
you of all people are gonna read Moby Dick."
How big is Moby Dick?
Oh, it's
Like what? The 800, 900
yeah. The cliff
pages?
notes are that wide. I mean, that thick. I mean, good God, who was I fooling? I was so stupid and uninformed that I was like, I got it. I'm gonna sneak this one past her. I did not sneak it past her. She was like, there was 0% chance you were reading Moby Dick ever.
Yeah, it's great. It'd be like if, for some reason, somebody was like, "Hey, we're having a thing tomorrow about Stephen King books. Everybody's got to pick one." You're like, you panic, like, "I'll do the Stand."
I'll do the Stand. Yes.
Like,
They made a movie about that. It's really good too.
like, I'll read the Dark Tower series. I hear it's fun. Cut to, oh God. And I'm missing,
It's not a comic book.
I'm missing a book up there too.
It's not like Jughead.
That's hilarious. I'll do Moby Dick, please.
It's just you could just see it on her face.
So
She
many
was
other
like, "You're
movies.
so
many other
stupid.
So many other
You know
movie books too. You could have chose.
Yeah.
You know, sooner. You could have done any of those, like Where the Red Fern Grows.
Yeah,
Those were all
yeah.
movies and short little
The next
books.
year I did The Old Man and the Sea and actually read it and actually thoroughly enjoyed it.
I love The Old Man
Oh,
and
it's
the Sea.
so fun.
I love the
It's
movie.
fantastic.
It's awful. Like the effects are awful.
Yeah, the old one, it's kind of black and whitish, and yeah,
They had some kind of weird new technology they were trying out for the fish. I don't know if you remember, like
Yeah.
the waves of the ocean.
Yeah.
It looks insane. But man, I love it.
Yeah.
There's something about it. And who plays? Is it old Gregory Peck?
yeah, maybe.
I think. Yeah.
I remember seeing it on Sunday afternoon
Ab-
after like Wrestling at the Chase.
Absolutely.
It was
It was
on.
one of those type of movies for sure.
After Wrestling at the Chase and after Tarzan.
Yeah. Oh man, Tarzan.
Yeah.
It would come on after that. I liked it because they didn't know how to make books into movies yet. So they literally just like have narration over most of the book,
yeah.
which I'm fine with because I am a big Hemingway fan. And they're literally just, saying the Hemingway crap over it.
Yeah.
The old man was old and he was a man. Like he literally writes crap.
And that man aged into an old man.
Yes. He had hard hands that were hard. I get it, dude.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry about the side track there, but
He took the
So we
slack,
go- so-
slack rope in his left hand, tight rope in his right hand.
good God.
The rope was frayed. Oh, but only this part, for where his hand rubbed it. His hand was hard and calloused. Calloused was his heart, and so was his hands. He worked his hands to the bone. Stop saying it's like a Simpson bit where somebody in the background needs to go. Stop saying hands. Stop saying rope.
It was the booze talking there.
So what is that? Simpsons? Somebody said in Wiggum's. Somebody's in jail. And he just says, "Stop saying Hawaii in there," or something like that. All right, Demolition. Let's get back to it. Phone Book Fest.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Yeah. So there's like how many pool tables? Doesn't matter how many, but there's several pool tables set up.
So
and
many
all
dudes.
the young gangsters are playing pool, and
The young punks are in there.
Yeah.
Ito goes in. He straps his taped books all over himself. He goes in there, and they slowly like start to turn and see him. And a couple of them like smart him off and grab machetes and like, you came to the wrong place. You were once blah blah blah, but now you're whatever. And Ito just like.
he's like, you know who I am? Come on, bring it on.
Yeah, he like screams to get them all to be silent, and then he says, it's a great speech where is paraphrasing, but he says something like, if you stay here, know that you're getting ready to die by the hand of one of the 6 C's.
Yeah.
So if you have the balls, have at me.
And this sea is the Gulf of America, I think, is who he represents.
Yeah. And they come at him, and he just starts breaking bones and macheteing people.
I'm sorry, but if I'm in the third wave of guys that came at him, I'm just going to slip out the back.
Absolutely.
I'm like, this dude has slaughtered 35 guys. What makes me think that I'm the one that's going to get him?
Yeah, people are hitting him with machetes, and every time they do, you kind of forget, like, wait, he's got his vest on.
Hey, man.
And man, I do that with my chains, man.
Yeah.
I ever tell you where these chains come from?
Mr. T's phone books are gold chains.
My daddy got me these chains. I ever tell you the story of how my daddy bought me these chains? Dysentery. For 6 weeks, he had all these chains up his ass. We're not off the radio yet.
No.
So he just dispenses murder and mayhem in his old hangout.
Dude.
At one point, he takes a pool ball and beats a dude's face off. At one point, he puts pool balls in a little sack under it, kicks the sack off, twists it up, and starts using that to beat people.
You know what I wish someone would put into one of these movies with, especially a movie like these, and there are a ton of movies like this. From I wish that they would stop the fight scene and move it, because be like, hold on, let's all agree to move, because there's so much blood on the floor that no one can stand anymore without sliding. And to make it fair for you guys,
yeah, we should go over
let's
there.
move to a cleaner floor and then move, because there's so much blood and just body parts. And
I like that.
I think that would be and that would go along with their honorable fighting.
I hope I remember that if I'm writing it sometime. Writing fights about, like, hold on, just stop.
Everybody
There's
stop
so
for a
much
minute
blood.
to make it more fair for you guys, because it's too slick in here
Go
for you.
over here. Take off your pants if you want to.
Yeah.
Go barefoot. Whatever we got to do here. Yeah, pool ball, sexy helmet. She's in I don't even know where she's at this point, to be honest with you, but she is wreaking havoc with her bombs.
Yeah.
And just taking out people. Ito gets a gun after beating everyone to death. Is that the scene where he finally gets his shotgun? That's earlier in the movie, where he has a shotgun. I love how rarely guns come up. Like, he has a shotgun.
He
for
shot
one
that
scene.
dude directly in the face
saw
from
that
like
one time.
4 feet away. That was I was like, oh, that was awesome.
Yes.
That was great. It was a great shot. It was great effects.
Oh,
Shotgun from 4 feet away.
yeah. It's something else. Then he just uses it to.
Yeah, well, he tries to shoot again. It's clicked or jammed or something, where he's out of shells,
Yep,
and then he's like,
that's
screw it.
Sexy helmet. She's got the girl hidden in the tub. She's used her bombs, and that's when Blonde and the Blonde's lady, special
chain
lady
girl
friend, shows up, chain girl. And that's when I wrote down, chick fight. She's got the wire.
It's a pretty sexy fight.
It is vicious.
When women fight, it's way more vicious usually than men.
It is, the fight is great between them all. The wire work, the whole like sword versus wire versus knife. But the way she gets her at the end is she gets her wire all wrapped around her and attaches it to an air conditioner and
Kicks it
out the window.
Her death is so it's such attention to detail on what would happen.
Yeah, it's awful because she's like trying to save herself with her hands, of course, but the wire just cuts through her fingers.
Yeah.
And you don't really realize it until they fall and they like all kind of fall apart.
Yeah.
And then it just like takes her head.
There was a lot of attention to detail on her death.
Oh man.
And it was fantastic.
It was so gruesome. And you see the operator, Sexy Helmet, is watching her.
Right.
Like looking at it, like watching it, like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then she kind of looks up at her girlfriend like, uh-oh.
Yeah. Did I just make you mad?
It's such a great look that she gives her. It's like, man, that's a hell of a way to go. And then she like, oh crap, you're watching this, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's your
why didn't you
girlfriend?
try to save her? That's your girl, right?
Yeah, that's why. That's when she says, why didn't you try to save her? You can't save it. You can't help the dead.
Yeah.
And then they have a great fight.
Man, it's a great fight.
God, there's a scene that made me like freak out. Oddly enough, didn't freak out my wife at all.
Huh?
In the middle of their fight, or towards the end of their fight,
the finger?
she looks at her finger and realizes it's been cut, but not quite off.
Yeah.
And then she just
it's
goes.
just been hanging by the
She plays
by
with
the
it for a
skin.
second and just goes and tears it off.
Yeah.
And it literally made me jump in my seat, like cross my legs.
And then they we're so close on to getting 2 in a row.
Dang, it ties the room together. Carbondale. Good night. Sleep tight. Thanks for listening. And we'll be back next week with some more fun movies. Amazon is getting filled with fun movies right now. There's a Rutger Hauer movie
We'll avoid
called
all
Armed and Dangerous. So, I can't wait to get to it. Good night, everybody.
Oh, so they immediately cut from that scene where she pulls her finger off and pan over
To the
to the blonde girl who
French.
immediately starts coughing and then spitting up blood, and then the camera drops to her,
goes down, tilts down,
and her intestines are just
hanging
hanging
out.
out.
That part my wife didn't like.
Yeah.
The finger part didn't bother her that much.
Yeah.
But when it tilted down to her gut, she went, "Oh no! Why
Yeah.
did they show that?"
That's great. It's like they've been having this fight. Nobody really got hurt. There were some cuts here and there.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, the one chick is like, "Oh crap, my finger!" And while she's taking care of that, the other girl's like, intestines are just falling out. That was fantastic.
Yeah, that's great. And then she has
It was fucking fantastic.
Oh, that's right.
We're off the air.
It's fucking great. Her guts come out, and they fight down the stairs, and she finally dies.
Yeah.
And she gets it rough.
Yeah.
Like she gets it through the throat. I think,
I thought
with
that-
her own knife.
I thought that Sexy Helmet was going to somehow wrap her intestines around the handrail and kick her down the stairs. That's what I thought was going to happen, which would have been
In like a beer,
fantastic.
in a little bit beer movie, that would have happened.
Yeah.
I bet. Robert Rodriguez would have done that. So she finally dies.
You give me $1 million to make a movie, I would have done that.
It's in Machete 2, I think.
Yeah?
He
There you go.
Danny Trejo. He's trapped in like
I love him, and It's Always Sunny.
whatever it is, and he
And the
cuts a
Jersey
guy.
Mike's commercials.
Oh, that's right. He cuts a guy, grabs his guts, and then jumps out a window, and uses him to swing to the window below.
That's awesome. They would have been a little slicker than that, but
Yeah.
for movie's sake.
Then we see a sniper. We see Arian. He's just
Best deaths of the movie and best
chicks?
fight of the movie, which is hard to say
That
because
is
there's
very
so
hard
many.
to say.
But I think it's the best fight of the movie, and the best deaths in the movie are the females.
Are the ladies?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought so.
Best fight of the movie would be a really.
Ito and Arian, which we're getting to, was
Yeah.
a great fight.
It is a great fight. It goes on for so long,
Yeah.
and it's almost like a boxing match. I was writing down
Yeah.
like Arian takes the first round,
Yeah.
like they have like
He took the first 4.
yeah. He beats. However, like you always feel like but Ito's just killed like 150 guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like give it.
Arian starts getting a little winded, and Ito,
Yeah.
the experience of the old man, the old boxer, takes
Yeah.
over for
Yeah.
the exuberance
Yes,
and the
that's right.
energy of the younger.
Oh, I didn't mention the blonde and the operator when they're fighting in the hallway. They're just corpses everywhere.
Yes,
They're all blown in half. They're just like slipping and falling on top of them.
it's great.
All right, there's a sniper. Now, Arian's coming up to this next level. There's a sniper that's got aimed at him. And then we see Arian.
She's got a pretty small role.
Very small role. You see her for about a second. You don't even see her die. You just see Arian come in.
Yeah, you
like,
see
right?
the end result of
You
her
see
death.
you see the result of her. She had to be like somebody's lady friend.
Special lady friend.
So then they have this conversation, and Arian finally lays it on the line. He's like, "Guess who's replacing you?" And like Ito's like, "You're so stupid."
Right.
Like, you really think that's what's gonna happen?
Right. Yeah. They're using you, dude.
And you kind of see it in Arian's face. Like I think that's maybe why he rages out on him so hard in the end. Is like he realizes he's right.
Yeah.
And he's gonna die either way.
And boy, does he.
Yeah. So guess who's replacing you? That's what I was talked about. Well, we already talked about it. If he actually was gonna take his place or not, and I say no. I don't.
And the little girl is fine through this whole part.
Yep.
Through the whole movie, by the way.
Oh, I think
which is kind of what the movie swirls around. But
yeah, it's true. The operator, I think, takes her at this point. That's the sexy helmet. Then I wrote fight. There's 20 minutes left at this point in the movie. I was like, are they gonna,
19 of it is this fight.
They're gonna fight for 20 minutes?
Yeah,
it's pretty close.
Yeah.
First round goes to Arian. He just beats the crap out of him, like kind of easily knocks a tooth out.
Slow-mo tooth coming out. Then there's another round where he takes him. Then we get to a saw. We get another saw, and it's pretty great. Like, there's a whole lot of switches on the saw. The head's gonna get it. It's not turned on until at one point Ito's like, "All right, I'm gonna turn this son of a bitch on." Hits it on side.
He then gets stabbed with a screwdriver.
Yeah,
which looks awful. It looks like one of those.
I thought it was odd that of all the times he was stabbed, hit, tortured, whatever.
Yeah, it
was so painful for him to pull out that screwdriver, which is smooth and not serrated or anything.
True.
And he's like, ah! And
yeah, it had to hit something, a bone. It had to break a bone or something. The way he acted. God, they just keep fighting. The screwdriver. He's cutting him up with a razor. He pulls the razor.
The razor knife, dude.
Now
and the razor blade breaks off, and he just slides it up to the next.
Yes, he like pulls it. He's like, pulls it out of his arm, and he looks up and. He just goes up and,
I got 50 more segments on this thing.
I'm ready to go. Let's go.
It's great.
And we're not going to do it justice, except for one of the last moments of it, which is he gets his box cutter razor in Ito's mouth.
Yeah. So he like jabs him, and he like stops it with his teeth, but the blade is protruding.
Yes, it's hard to explain. It's like coming through his thing, and he's holding it. And yes, he's like biting onto it, so he can't move it. But then he has a splintered piece of wood in fucking Arian's neck, like jabbed into it.
Yeah.
So they're both just stuck in it. And he does the most badass thing you could imagine Ito does. He bites off the razor blade.
Yeah.
And then cuts Arian's neck. And then you're like,
such a great scene.
You're like, oh, he's dead. Oh, it's so badass when he bites the fucking knife off and like goes ahead. You think he's dead because he's like, well, you stabbed him in the neck. And then he's not, though.
He must have missed the jugular.
He must have. He's like, kill me. Go ahead and kill me. And of course, Ito doesn't.
He's like, you're already dead. They don't kill the dead.
He kind of says what the lady says, but he says, you can't kill what's dead. And he's like, what'd you say to me? He gets pretty mad about it, and he picks up a gun at this point. Arian does.
Ito's trying to walk, and he's so beat up, and he's so exhausted.
That's the part where I was like, I think some of those slips were for real.
Yeah.
Like he looked like
there's
really
one point where
down.
there's like 30 pipes laying on the floor, and Ito falls like 4 times on these pipes, and the scene never cuts. And I think they're just like keep going. Like he could have broken an ankle there easily. He could have,
which is we didn't talk about this,
which helps the realism so much. Yeah.
The way they shoot these fights is not the American, which Americans do shoot fights this way now, but it's because of the Raid movies. They did it like they do it by the fight, and they just have the camera. It's very choreographed, and the camera moves with them. So it's not cut. It's not like the guy goes to punch and then you cut to the guy getting hit where you can clearly see the seams. It never stops, which sells the realism. So then they are very much like crap happens in it. That's great.
Right.
It's just adds to it, like you said.
There were 3 times, I think, that I noticed in the movie where there was an edit.
We should watch the Pantera movie 3 sometime. Go ahead, sorry.
But there was an edit in the middle of the fight scene.
Jump cut.
And it
like,
and you could just see it.
Yeah. So
which is
they did it a couple times. The Raid, I'm glad you brought that up. The Raid was better at it than they are. The Raid knew how to take out. So all they're doing is cutting a couple frames. So it's still the same shot. But what happened was the guy just was too slow on his punch.
right.
So this happens. He was supposed to go 1, 2, 3, right? Well, he goes 1, 2, 3. They just cut out that pause.
Yeah.
The Raid does it a lot just to make the fight snappier. And you see it a lot in American movies now, but they're so smooth with it. They do something like they do like a ramping effect between the shots, so you don't really see it as much. I kind of like it this style where it's just like gone. They see the pop. Because like I said, the scene doesn't actually cut. It's just that quick little frame removal.
Yeah. It reminded me of the cuts like in Fight Club where they insert.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That's where you don't notice it, but you notice it at the same time. Where where they splice in the one.
Now, what they used to do was just called
which we do to this show all
absolutely.
the time.
That's
why you guys always get so horny watching.
What they used to do was just called frame ramping, and they would just slow down the frames so it was quicker when you played it back.
Yeah.
But when you do that, you don't really have any control of anything. It's just going
That's
to be...
when you end up with the fast forward car going around the corner.
Yeah, a little bit. It's going to be just choppier. So now they actually just say, nope, everything's filmed at full frame, and then we just literally pop out frames and squish it together. I've done it a few times.
I was surprised, though, with the smoothness and all of the interesting camera angles and everything. How smooth this whole movie
the
is.
Cinematography is so smooth and great looking.
There's those 2 or 3.
Looks like the freaking Godfather.
Yeah.
Of it. Like it's
those 2 or 3 edits kind of stuck out.
I get it.
I was like,
I saw them.
What happened?
And they bothered me a little bit, but I also knew
it didn't affect. Obviously,
I also
the
knew
overall
where
movie
this
or the beauty of this movie,
where it came from, and I know that that's just something they do.
Right.
So it's not.
It was just done roughly, I think.
Yeah. One of them jumped out.
It was like Sam the Butcher is the editor, and he's like, I'm gonna edit this right.
Yeah. There was one of them that was
it's like
almost,
you've got this beautiful artist over here,
almost egregious,
and Sam the Butcher's like, I got it.
It could have been an actual cut. The one that was kind of egregious, I think, was in the butcher shop, or it might have been in the saw. I don't know. I don't remember. Arian picks up a gun. He's trying to shoot Ito. He's just walking out in pain. He can't hit him.
Right.
Because he can't hit him because he's missing on purpose. He can't hit him because he sucks. Is Ito untouchable at this point? I don't know.
I think it's just left to the viewer to understand or whatever you want to
whatever
think.
You want it to be.
He wants to scare him to stop him, but he doesn't want to kill him, or he just at this point he's so exhausted and beat up that he just can't aim.
Just can't shoot straight. Ito kind of falls a couple times when he hits shots hit next to him.
Yeah.
Then the tiger comes out with his gang.
Yeah.
And Arian's like, I don't even remember what he says to him, but he walks away and they just unload on him. Once again, not dead though.
Yeah.
Still breathing a little bit.
Yeah.
They come over and have to
It's so tough to kill people in this movie. Like they take so many shots.
Same guns that we have here.
Yeah. They're like gelatin bullets.
They take him out. Girl's sexy helmet has the young girl, and she reunites with Ito, and she's crying. Do we see who takes her away then? Because we see Ito reunite with her. He yells at the girl. He hugs her. He's smiling. Yes. He's patting her back. They're the visas, or the passports.
Passports. Mm-hmm. And she gives them to him. He gives her, I think, hers back. And then he yells at her. He screams at her and tells her to get away. Go. But there's no
other. Okay.
There's no audio for that. It's all just visual. It's all,
which they do that a few times in the movie.
Then so he basically explains to her she has to go, leave him behind.
I never could tell if there was somebody there that he was yelling to, go to her, you have to go to her.
So now,
because then you just see her on a boat.
there should be a part 2 to this.
Where it's her?
Where it's her coming back to end the triad once and for all
love it.
for killing Ito.
I love it.
That's just my feelings on
see,
it. We may have to shoot that movie.
We see Sexy Helmet Lee. She's one of the few people that lives.
Yeah.
And the young girl's on a boat. She's waving to him. And he gets in a car and starts
She's
it up.
going to have a rough life.
She might not. She might have a couple problems.
Yeah.
I
don't think the
he looks up
the public childhood whatever you call it there I don't think
social
I don't think the social programs there in the Philippines or I assume they're in the Philippines are kind of gonna take care of her.
No,
not that they're that good in America, obviously, but I feel like over there she's gonna end up in some places that
plus varmints inside the city limits.
Yeah,
it's not. It's not right. Ito gets in his car. He's just so beat up and stabbed and bloody.
His breathing here is awesome.
Oh yes, he's breathing like just
the wheeze.
He's punctured lungs.
His acting again. We talked about it at the beginning about how well he acts hurt.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
He never speaks English. He's popped up in a few English movies. I wish he was in more. I have a feeling maybe his English doesn't hold up.
Yeah.
Hey, man. That'd be great.
Mr. T, dub him.
He learned English by watching A-Team episodes. Hey, man.
So he talks like all of them. He just rotates through it.
Uh-oh. I love it when a plan comes together.
We gotta do that. The part 2.
Oh, I love the idea of a guy raised on the A-Team. Like we could throw a couple shows in there so he's got multiple voices to go through. Just pick like the most ludicrous characters.
So similar to Better Off Dead where the guy
yes, that's what I was thinking.
Learn how to speak English by watching Howard Cosell.
Yes.
Or the twins.
Except ours is going to be a combo.
Yeah, that's so great.
Mr. T, all of A-Team. Max from Heart to Heart. My name's Max.
And Schwarzenegger from Schwarzenegger
movies.
They learn English from Schwarzenegger.
This guy's a weird combination.
All right.
I can't even. It kind of melts my brain to think about it.
Mr. T, Schwarzenegger, and Max from Heart to Heart.
Ito gets in the car, starts it up, and looks up, and there's the old Tiger himself, and he's got like 30 guys with him now. And they all have guns, and they all aim at the car, and
they win.
And
at the end,
they win.
Kind of. I mean, the girl got away.
The girl does get away, but they do take out everybody. But you don't see it happen, so it's kind of up to you. But it's kind of like Sopranos. Like, I don't think Ito made it out of this alive.
No, dude.
But he goes out smiling because he's that happens a lot in this movie too. Like men are like, well, this is my fate to do this right now.
Yeah.
And Ito even tells Arian one time, you can make all the plans you want to. That's you, but the fate you do, that you can't change your fate though. It's not going to help anything.
You are headed towards. You're flirting with disaster.
So there's a certain
some great band.
That's right.
Once said.
It was a lady named Molly.
Yeah, Molly.
My dog.
Molly Axe or something like that.
Yes, that's right.
Molly.
Yes.
Molly Woodcutter. Molly.
Molly Broadaxe.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Ito takes off after them. He's like, well, not after them. He's going to take a few of them out.
Did I show you my new knife?
Yes.
That could have been in the movie.
That could have been in the movie.
It's pretty cool. Just got to be careful closing it. Cut myself showing you.
It would be hilarious if that was a scene with Ito.
That's how he died. Cut off his finger, closing his knife, blood out. In scene. Roll credits.
The guy cleaned his knife with toilet paper before he handed it to me.
So I was telling
staph infection.
Mr. Frisch here, not just to make this episode longer than it should be. When the first day I got this knife, my ear itched. I just kind of itched it. And it was like 30 seconds later, I was like, why do I feel like I'm sweating on my ear? And I reached over and it was just gushing blood. Like, this knife is so stupid sharp.
That's great.
And I never even felt, not a pinch, not a nick, not anything. I just kind of itched it. And just gushing blood from my ear.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. That was a little.
Don't bring a knife to
Little peek into the behind the scenes.
Don't
I was
bring a
telling him
knife to a finger fight.
No. Just scratch an itch with your finger, dude. Don't use your knife.
Don't use a knife. Hey man. Don't bring knives into this.
I got this gold knife. My dad brought it to me.
You know how my dad got his knife? I can tell you a story how my dad got his knife.
For some reason, he carried it like this up there. Real painful.
He wasn't in war or nothing, just 42nd Street, Chicago.
He bought it, shoved it straight up there.
He bought it at the street vendor. Swap meet. He's afraid it's going to get stolen, I guess. Maybe he just liked it.
Liked the length of it. Stupid Mr. T. Always ruins every show. That guy. We need to fire Mr. T. Every show is just like normal. And then here comes Mr. T to ruin it, to screw it up. This says a bunch of stupid stuff.
Oh, God, I found a movie. It's nowhere to be found, though. It's called Freaked. And it stars Ted from Bill and Ted, not Keanu.
Yeah.
The
other great actor.
He directed it. It's got like insane puppet work. Screaming Mad George did the puppets on it. It's called Freaked. Mr. T is in it.
Yeah.
The people that star in it
it's nowhere to be found.
Are great. You cannot find it anywhere. There's
a couple of Mr. T movies like that.
There's a new. Oh yeah, there's a Cab movie that he's in.
DC Cab.
DC Cab.
Yeah, I love that movie.
That's right. DC Cab was
terrible,
great.
but it was awesome when I was a kid because I was like, Mr. T.
There's a movie called The Sentinel that just hit Amazon. It could be on Shudder. And it was just like Christopher Walken's in the background. Freaking Jeff Goldblum's on screen for a second. Hey, was that Richard Dreyfuss? Like it literally was just like, what the? Every other person in it. It seemed very boring though. I kind of wanted to recommend it. I watched 10 minutes of it and I was like, it's a who's who, but it doesn't help it. Hey, he runs his car into the people shooting guns at him. The windshield, everything's just getting shot up. He's smiling, laughing. Cut to credits. The night comes for us. It says directed by. It ties the room together. I loved it. I wish I owned it as opposed to just it being on Netflix, but Netflix does not release most of its movies on Blu-ray. Having said that, Nosferatu comes out in like a week and a half on Blu-ray. So if you want to get me a Valentine's present, Valentine's, as they say around here.
Yeah. Send it to P.O. Box.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that. All right.
Remember CODs?
Oh, yeah. Cash on delivery.
Yeah. That doesn't happen anymore, does it?
Every
infomercial that was on was like cash or COD or check or COD or whatever.
Yeah. Could you imagine though when they show up and
that sounds like an awesome name for a band. COD, something like that.
COD. Can you imagine though when they show up and you don't have the cash?
Yeah. What happens? You just
let's go away.
Does the delivery guy have to give you like 3 chances?
I bet they give you 3 chances at least.
Yeah.
But man, how embarrassing!
So the guy's like bringing it from Oklahoma to here, and
like,
he's got to like pull up in a hotel now.
I gotta go to town. Get some cash out of the bank, and you're on the way home. Like, I need some groceries.
Oh, crap.
I'm gonna get some fast food on the way home. You're like, oh no,
hey man,
uh-oh, I spent all my money, fool.
Y'all take chains?
You gotta take gold.
I thought that was COD, chain on delivery.
On that note, I think we should probably get out of here.
We should stop.
So yes, having watched this one now, do you want to go back and watch some of the Raid movies or any of the other movies with these fellas?
Yeah, I think you showed me part of one of the Raid movies.
Yeah, sometimes I will put it on in the background at parties just to have it on because you don't need to pay it. You don't really need to know the story.
You just look up and there's violence, and 10 minutes later you look up and there's more violence, and you're just like, yeah. It's
the Raid movie. Really is a video game. It is. These guys are trapped in the building. They have to get from the bottom floor to the top floor to get to the main guy.
Yeah.
And it's just like they run out of bullets in the first 5 minutes. They're just like, well, I guess we're fighting from here on out. And that's it. All right. Yeah, I liked it. I don't know what we're doing next week, but we'll find something fun.
Yeah.
See you next time, everybody.
We'll find something.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.